Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Um, Surely this is washed out. All right. It is 5:48 in the morning on October 29th, 2024. And this is more for me than it is for you. This is part of my just keeping track of things. A laboratory notebook, if you will. So, I was putting some things together for the CX0 thin client, and it's really washed out. What happens if we do it like this? And I was looking up on Amazon for some IDE adapters, and my signal backups are starting. I was looking on Amazon last night for some IDE adapters and even an IDE hard drive, and I ran across something that I had already purchased, and I had forgotten that I had purchased it, and then I couldn't remember that I had even installed it. And that's likely for a couple of reasons. One, I do have some neurospiciness around my memory, and so I have to do lots of different sort of things in order to remember things. And anyway, I went to go looking for it, and I did find it. It was not, I just moved something that might have changed the power. It was not in this ThinkPad. I only have a few machines that still take IDE besides these CX0s now. It was not in this wonderful trash, but working. I think this is an R. This ThinkPad is thankfully one that I did not buy myself new. This was from their budget line. This is the R40. Obviously I had a T40. Maybe it was a T42 that I had. Anyway, the R40, the most annoying thing about the R40 right now is that I don't have a battery for it, so there's this big gaping slot. But I have tested it. It does work. It is pretty cool because, you know, it's still got like a parallel port on it. It does take a slightly less than standard power supply, but that's not why we're here. Gotta get to the flash drive. Anyway, also just from kind of a, from cataloging. So I opened this Gateway Solo up. This is a 2500. A lot of times these things will roll off my tongue, and I'll confidently get them wrong. So this is a Gateway Solo 2500. I'm looking at it right there. I actually had someone trade me for this when I was doing some work, and it works. Obviously the battery does not work. And one of the things I do want to test eventually on it is the composite out, but and then it's got an IR port. It's even got a serial port on it. This is a wonderful vintage. It's one of these models that has both a CD-ROM and a floppy. And I do believe I put Windows 98 on it. Anyway, I extracted the hard drive because apparently that hard drive was going bad. I did actually put the original one back in because, again, I don't remember. I should have taken notes. I'm gonna start taking some of these notes to keep things organized. And so I found it. This is a 64 gigabyte IDE PATA 2.5-inch drive. And I do believe that I have what I need in order to put that into one of the CX Zeros. Why would we do that? Well, why would we put an IDE drive into the CX0? Well, we would do it for a couple reasons. But since you can boot off of USB into Linux just fine, or even into FreeDOS, or FreeDOS would fit on the 128 megabyte flash drive already in there. If you want to run something like, now I think it's Windows XP, well, in the title here we'll make sure we know that actually has drivers. I think it's Windows XP, not Windows 98. But that's not to say that Windows 98 wouldn't work. It's just likely that the graphics driver wouldn't work. The VIA graphics drivers, I think, are for Windows XP, specifically probably Windows XP embedded. But anyway, ReactOS is an open source operating system. I wanted to only be trying to run open source operating systems used as a good excuse. So ReactOS is still very under development, active development, but it is not just wine. It's not just a compatibility layer. It is an it is an implementation of legacy NT line Windows. So just like FreeDOS will run DOS programs, ReactOS will run Windows programs. And I've seen some folks do some various things in that. I've never really tried it, I think, except once on a live CD, and so I want to do that. So that's one of the things that we're going to be doing. Just to give you a quick what's been going on, I still need to do the mini DNLA episode. It's going to come out. I've been busy with my other work, the government. I help write solutions and proposals for the government. For a contractor, and so when they drop their solicitations, you jump. you start writing and solutioning, etc. We've been preparing for this one for a while, but it's on right now, and I finally got a little break in it to be able to kind of put my head back into these things. Anyway, so that's where I'm at. It's not like I've dropped off again for 6 months to a year like I did with Teacup. That's where we're going, is going to be using that IDE drive to try and load up some interesting operating systems on the CX0. And that's it for now. No, not quite it. The other thing that I did is I have, everybody should have what they would consider forever data. Okay, and this would be like home movies, pictures, and documents, things like that, and then other things that you may have collected. Like, for example, I have all of the Computer Chronicles videos, and I have my movie collection, but my movie collection is kind of separate from what I would consider my forever data. This also includes source code, repositories, things like that. Works that you've created. Well, the server that it was in was having some issues, and I had it on a 6-disc ZFS pool. Now, anyway, so I was able to pull those out and get a USB enclosure, put them in, and then I've been actually consolidating those two now, just a 3-disc pool. But so we're only talking about a few terabytes here, but the point is that few terabytes is irreplaceable to me. And yes, I do have elements of it backed up in other places like the cloud, in an encrypted manner. And then I also have tape backups of probably 95% of the data. And that's just because of churn. I just haven't been good at keeping my tape library up to date. Anyway, yeah. So I have two different LTO generations, LTO3 and LTO4 tape library, and then just a standalone HP unit. Both of them are SCSI. And we'll probably cover that at some point. All right. Yeah, I think that'll do it. Oh no, the other news from Lake Wobegon is that in the in-between cycles, right, of my brain needing a creative outlet, the other thing that I've just started putting together was the through line and a the plot and concept design document for a video game, because I'd really like to reach folks on consoles and video games to be able to help teach. Part of the reason I'm doing this whole thing is to try and make hacking technology, even from a historical standpoint, more accessible to the youths, and to create a safe space for us, last of the Gen X hackers, to be able to talk about our experiences and just reminisce, but also catalog and emit to a younger generation. That's gonna do it for me for now. I'm just gonna have some more coffee and hope you enjoy your day. I think the last comment I was gonna make was, I think, I've been testing this a little bit. I think YouTube has a bias on its algorithm, the number of impressions. Now, I'm not a big channel, and I know not all of my titles are the most interesting to people, but I think that the resolution of your video, if you upload standard definition video, I think they give you less impressions. And I'm going to see if I can use this video to kind of test that out. Probably not a really good example of one, but I will do these in the future, not only so that I can keep up an update to you, to all y'all, so that I can have some documentation and I just don't lose touch the way that can happen, because things move quickly when you're doing projects. Yeah. And for those of you that are interested, leave me a comment. I actually just purchased 5 more of those CX0s, particularly so that I could have some sort of reserve supply for those who want to follow it along at home. I have a reserve supply that I'm willing to part with and ship to you, and I will probably also be listing them on my eBay page as well. Okay, happy hacking. Probably won't release a video for another few days, and we'll talk to you later. Beep boop.